Welcome to Storyvale. Before we dive into today's story, make sure to like this video and subscribe so you don't miss any of our suspenseful and heart-touching tales. Robert never imagined that a single day could change his life forever. One moment, he was a proud father, holding his 2-year-old daughter close. The next, everything he believed about love, trust, and safety was shattered. He had always thought he could protect Mia from the world, but he was wrong. Someone he trusted, someone he welcomed into their home, had been hiding a dark secret, and by the time he found out, the damage had already been done. It started with small things, almost invisible at first. A flinch here, a silence there. But the truth would shake Robert to his very core, and nothing would ever be the same again. What happened next would shake his world, and reveal how far a father will go to protect his child. It all began years earlier, on a warm summer evening. Robert had been at a friend's art exhibition, wandering through the vibrant displays, when he first saw her. Rose. She was laughing at a painting, her dark eyes sparkling with mischief and curiosity. Her smile lit up the room in a way that made Robert pause mid-step. He watched her for a long moment, captivated. Finally, he found the courage to approach. "I couldn't help but notice you smiling at that painting," he said, voice careful, almost shy. "Do you come to these exhibitions often?" Rose turned toward him, surprise flickering across her face before a warm smile settled in. "Not really," she said, her voice soft but confident. "It's my first time here. I just love how colors can tell a story, don't you?" Robert nodded, suddenly aware of how small his words felt compared to the brightness she carried. They spent the evening talking about art, dreams, and the little oddities of life. It was effortless, like the world had paused just for them. By the end of the night, he knew he had found someone extraordinary. Their connection grew quickly. Robert and Rose spent long weekends exploring the city, cooking together in her small apartment, and sharing secrets under the night sky. Love arrived quietly, steadily, until it filled every corner of their hearts. It wasn't long before Rose discovered she was pregnant. The news came one crisp morning when sunlight filtered through the kitchen window. She held a tiny stick in her trembling hands, looking at Robert with wide eyes. "We're going to have a baby," she whispered. Robert froze, his heart pounding with joy. He pulled her into a tight embrace, feeling as if the world had finally made sense. "A baby," he repeated, smiling through tears. "Our baby. I can't believe it. I promise I'll take care of you both, always." The months passed in a mixture of wonder and careful preparation. Robert attended every doctor's appointment, held Rose when she felt faint, and read every book he could find about becoming a father. They decorated a small nursery, painting the walls soft yellow, choosing toys and blankets, imagining a life filled with laughter and love. Then came the day Mia was born. Robert had stayed by Rose's side through every contraction, holding her hand, whispering words of encouragement. "You're so strong," he told her repeatedly. "I love you, and Mia will too. You're amazing." The hospital room was tense, filled with the steady beeping of monitors and the quiet whispers of nurses. Robert could feel the panic rising each time Rose winced in pain, but he refused to look away. He focused only on her, on the tiny life they had created together. When the first cry rang out, Robert's chest expanded with relief and joy. He bent down to see their daughter, wrapped in a soft blanket, her tiny fists curling instinctively. "Mia," he whispered, kissing her forehead. She was perfect, a blend of both of them, a living miracle. But joy was fleeting. One of the nurses approached Robert, her voice soft, trembling. "I'm so sorry." Robert's world froze. Rose had stopped breathing. They tried to revive her, but it was too late. She was gone, leaving behind only Mia, their beautiful baby girl. Robert held Mia close, tears streaming freely, a heart shattered into pieces he didn't think could ever be mended. "I'll take care of you," he whispered through his grief. "I promise. I'll be your mother and father. Always." In that moment, Robert made a vow to the tiny life in his arms. He would protect Mia with everything he had. No matter what, she would never want for love, care, or safety. And though the world felt unbearably heavy without Rose, he clung to Mia as his reason to keep going, to keep living, and to keep loving. Robert didn't sleep that first night. He sat in the dim hospital room, cradling Mia in his arms, staring at her tiny, perfect face. Her little fists curled around his fingers, her breathing soft and rhythmic. Every little sigh and blink reminded him that she was alive and that she needed him now more than ever. The reality of Rose's absence hit him like a tidal wave. The quiet hospital room felt unbearably empty. He whispered to Mia softly, almost afraid that if he spoke too loudly, the world might shatter further. "It's just you and me now, little one," he murmured, brushing a curl off her forehead. "We'll be okay. I promise. I'll take care of you." The days at home were harder than Robert had imagined. Every diaper change, every midnight feeding, every small cry tested him in ways he had never anticipated. But each time Mia looked up at him with her tiny, trusting eyes, he found strength. He learned to balance grief and responsibility, to be both mother and father to the tiny life that depended entirely on him. Friends and family offered help, but Robert was stubborn. He wanted to be the one raising Mia, guiding her first steps, hearing her first words. He read books on parenting, experimented with lullabies, and spent hours singing to her, hoping his voice could comfort her even in the darkest moments. He never left her side when he could avoid it. Months passed, and Mia grew into a curious, playful toddler. Her laughter filled the house, chasing away shadows that lingered in corners. Robert adored the little things, the way she tried to mimic his expressions, the way she babbled when she wanted something, and the way she pressed her face against his chest when she was tired. She was the sun in his life, a reason to keep moving forward despite the ache of Rose's absence. It was during one of these quiet afternoons that Robert first met Isabella. She appeared at a charity event Robert had been invited to, introduced by a mutual friend. Isabella was elegant and confident, her smile warm and easy. She spoke to Mia as though she had known her for years, kneeling to show her toys and making her giggle. Robert felt a strange lightness in his chest, something he hadn't felt in a long time. Over the next few weeks, Isabella visited often. She laughed with Mia, cooked small meals for them, and complimented Robert on his devotion as a father. Slowly, he allowed her into their home, letting her help with chores and watch Mia play. He didn't see the shadows that lingered behind her smiles, the tiny frown she made when Mia's dark skin reminded her of something she didn't like. Robert was cautious but hopeful. He believed in second chances, in love, in people. And Isabella was patient, always appearing kind, always careful in her words. Mia adored her, reaching for her hands, laughing when she tickled her, calling her Miss Isabella with that sweet, trusting tone only a 2-year-old could have. Robert felt something stirring inside him he hadn't felt in years, a hope that perhaps life could offer happiness again. He smiled more, laughed more, and for the first time since Rose's death, allowed himself to imagine a family where love could return. Little did he know, the real test of love, trust, and protection was still waiting for him, hidden quietly behind smiles, laughter, and innocent games. Life seemed to settle into a comfortable rhythm for Robert and Mia. Mornings were filled with laughter as Mia chased her little wooden blocks across the living room, and afternoons were spent reading picture books or baking cookies. Robert loved these quiet moments, believing he had found a fragile peace after the storm of Rose's death. Isabella had become a regular presence in their lives. At first, her help seemed innocent, folding laundry, preparing snacks, or sitting with Mia while Robert worked from home. Mia loved her, calling her Miss Isabella with a bright smile, and Robert felt a small flicker of warmth in his chest, thinking perhaps he had finally found someone who could share their little world. But the first hints of trouble were subtle, almost imperceptible. Robert noticed small things. Mia flinching when Isabella raised her voice, Isabella's eyes narrowing when Mia touched her hair or skin. A frown crossed Isabella's face when Mia asked for extra cookies, a sigh escaping her lips when Mia wanted to sit close during story time. Robert dismissed these moments as stress or tiredness, telling himself he was imagining things. One afternoon, Robert returned early from a short business trip. He expected to see Mia laughing, playing with blocks on the carpet. Instead, he found her sitting quietly in a corner, her small fingers tracing patterns on the floor. Isabella was nearby, smiling, but the smile didn't reach her eyes. "Hi, Mia," Robert said cheerfully, scooping her up. She smiled faintly, pressing her little face against his chest. He didn't notice the faint marks on her arms at first. They spent the afternoon baking cookies, Mia giggling as flour covered her nose. Isabella helped too, though Robert noticed she watched more than she interacted. Something about the way she observed Mia made a cold ripple run through his chest, but he shrugged it off. He wanted to trust her, wanted to believe she was part of their family. As the evening approached, Robert decided to give Mia a bath, their usual bonding ritual. He carried her to the bathroom, humming a tune. But as he began to undress her, a flicker of unease stopped him. Dark marks streaked her small arms and legs. His heart lurched. "Mia, what happened?" he whispered, his hand shaking. She looked up at him, her eyes wide, innocent and trusting, too young to explain. Robert's mind raced. Could the maid have done this? Could Mia have fallen? He called the maid into the bathroom. Her face turned pale as she stepped forward. "Sir, I didn't," she stammered, looking at him with fear. Robert frowned, uncertainty gnawing at him. He remembered the hidden camera he had installed months ago, a precaution he had never expected to use. Slowly, he pulled up the footage, his fingers trembling. The images that played froze him in shock. Mia was crying softly as Isabella shouted at her, striking her tiny arms and legs. The maid stood in the corner, frozen, watching without intervening. Each cry, each fearful flinch of Mia's small body was captured on film. Robert's chest burned with anger and betrayal. He had opened his heart, trusted someone to love and care for Mia, and now saw the truth laid bare. His hands tightened around the phone as he watched Isabella's cruelty, his mind struggling to comprehend it. He turned to the maid. "You knew this was happening, and you did nothing?" Her eyes filled with tears, but she said nothing. Robert felt his entire world tilt. For the first time, he realized that protecting Mia would mean facing not just the obvious dangers, but those hidden behind smiles and polite words. He looked down at Mia, still trembling, and whispered softly, "It's okay, baby girl. Daddy is here. I will never let anyone hurt you again." The quiet bathroom held the weight of betrayal, anger, and sorrow, but also held the first moment of clarity. Robert knew what he had to do, and that from now on, Mia's safety and love would come only from him. Robert's hand shook as he dialed Isabella's number. He didn't trust his voice to remain steady if she arrived without knowing what was coming. When she picked up, her voice was light, almost playful. "Robert, I didn't expect you back so soon," she said, laughter in her tone. "How's Mia? Come home." Now, Robert said, his voice calm but sharp, like ice. There was no warmth in it, no trace of the man who had laughed with her before. Isabella arrived within minutes, walking into the house with her usual confident smile. She carried herself as if she were visiting friends, unaware that her carefully constructed mask was about to crumble. Robert held Mia close as Isabella entered the living room. "Sit down," he said quietly. Isabella's smile faltered slightly, sensing the weight in his voice. He placed his phone on the coffee table and pressed play. The footage filled the screen. There she was, Isabella, shouting at Mia, striking her small arms and legs. Mia whimpered, curling up defensively, while the maid stood silently in a corner, watching frozen. Every word, every movement, every tear-streaked cry of Mia was recorded in excruciating detail. Isabella froze, her mouth opening and closing like a fish out of water. She stammered, her face paling as the evidence played before her. Robert's eyes were cold. "Do you see this?" he asked, voice steady but cutting like a knife. "This is what you've been doing while I trusted you. Do you see my daughter crying? Do you see what you've done?" Isabella tried to defend herself, shaking her head. "No, it wasn't like that. You're overreacting." Robert shook his head, fury burning in his chest. "Overreacting? These bruises are on my daughter's arms and legs. I've watched you, time and time again, hurt her. And the maid, she saw it, didn't she? She did nothing." The maid's eyes filled with tears. "I was scared. I didn't know what to do," she whispered, but Robert's expression didn't soften. He had lost trust. "You enabled her abuse by staying silent," Robert said, his voice low and dangerous. "You're both leaving." Now, the authorities were called. Isabella was arrested, her face contorted in a mixture of fear and disbelief. Robert watched, his heart heavy, as someone who had pretended to care for his daughter was taken away, knowing justice would follow. The maid was dismissed immediately. Fear had made her silent, but Robert knew that Mia's safety could never be compromised again. She left, trembling, realizing the weight of her inaction. Robert turned to Mia, holding her tightly. "It's okay now, baby girl. I promise, no one will ever hurt you again. Just you and me." Mia clung to him, trembling at first, then slowly relaxing in the warmth of her father's arms. Robert kissed the top of her head, whispering over and over, "I love you. I'll always protect you." From that day onward, it was just the two of them. Father and daughter, rebuilding their world, brick by brick. Robert vowed never to marry again. Mia was his whole world, and he would never allow anyone to harm her again. They spent days slowly returning to normal, filling their home with laughter, soft lullabies, and bedtime stories. The bond between them grew stronger, forged by love, loss, and the trials they had survived. Robert learned that protection wasn't just about being there. It was about vigilance, trust, and courage. At night, as he held Mia close, he whispered softly, "You are safe, you are loved, and you are strong. Always." And Mia, finally, knew the warmth, safety, and love she had always deserved. Thank you for joining Robert and Mia on their journey, a story of love, loss, trust, and the unbreakable bond between a father and his daughter. Life isn't always easy, but even in the darkest moments, courage, love, and hope can guide us through. If you enjoyed this story and want to hear more heart-touching, suspenseful tales, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Share your thoughts below. What part of Robert and Mia's story touched you the most? Remember, no matter the challenges, love and determination can overcome anything. Until next time, stay strong, stay kind, and keep your hearts open for the stories that inspire us all.